Hello, and welcome back to Find Your Encore. Today we're working on Module 3, Live Your Encore more fully by mastering your mindset, conquering doubt and worry, and altering your paradigms. This module brings into play some really great thought and mind processes that is often missing from a lot of goal setting and success programs. I want you to spend a lot of time on Module 3, really study it, watch it often, repeat, because you've been spending a lot of time and effort to find and launch your Encore. So now I want you to really internalize it, make it fun, help you live it. Because again, you've found clarity on your goals and your vision, your love, and you've crafted this awesome plan. Last module, you made some decisions and some commitment to launch your plan into action, and you learned how to block out your schedule. You learned to work with gratitude in the morning, ask for guidance, send love to annoying people. I love that one. And also the exercise of writing down the 6 things you want to do tomorrow and then hitting them one by one. So, you know, many times again, we're headed down this super great path, and we're looking forward to enjoying all of our desires. And we will encounter some trips and blips, and doubts and can creep in, and no wonder. But I'm going to really go into some detail here. This way we'll be able to uncover obstacles. We'll create a mindset that's going to help carry it through for you, and we'll learn how to put new behaviors in order. That way we can just crash through the fear, because fear will come. So in this, again, I've added in the notes section a lot of empty space for you to record and capture your ideas, and so that you can reflect more personally as we go through this. And because I want you to get into the habit of journaling and capturing thoughts. And don't forget to read that goal card. All righty. So here we go. We're going to study 3 things: mastering your mindset, and this will help us to choose our thoughts and choose our results. We will work to create new paradigms and learn just what those paradigms are. Also, we will start to optimize the environment to see how you can work best. So here we go on our way to more fully live our Encore. And again, I might sound pretty excited about this, and that's because I am. So first, we want to choose our thoughts, to choose our results every time. But first we need to understand the mind, okay? And let me just blow this up a little for us, because this little picture we call the stick person. Dr. Thurman Fleet, back in like 1930, came up with this idea because he knew that working with the mind was difficult for some folks, because we don't have a really good picture of the mind. A lot of times, if I ask you to think of your mind, do you think about the brain? That's what I used to think about as well. But really, the brain is our switching station. So that's energy in, energy out. It's full of billions of, atoms and electrons and electricity. It's our switching station. So what is the mind? So Dr. Fleet gave us this little stick person picture. So the large circle here, okay, that is going to represent our conscious mind. And the bottom half of the big circle will represent our subconscious mind, okay? So the the top half, the conscious mind, is our thinking mind. And the subconscious, the bottom half of the circle, represents, again, our subconscious. So here's a couple of notes on this. Notice that the conscious mind. We can choose to accept or reject any thought that comes into our mind. Here, we can originate ideas. We can take in external stimuli. We can memorize. We can use our reasoning factors to think ourselves. But the subconscious mind is where when any idea or a thought comes through down to the subconscious mind, we cannot reject. We must accept whatever we let filter down through there. And a fascinating idea is that the subconscious mind cannot determine the difference between that which is real or that which is imagined. Let me give you an example of this. Okay, subconscious mind. Back in the day when teachers wrote on the blackboards, they were slate. And once in a while, those fingernails would go down through that blackboard. Now, there's no blackboard in front of us. There's no chalk and no fingernails going down the slate. But did you get that little weird little tingle? Yeah. So the subconscious mind cannot determine the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And this is going to be so important as we go to work on our self-image and we go to capture our goals. So again, notice we have the capacity to either choose and originate our thoughts in our conscious mind. However, if we do not choose our thoughts, well then, anything coming into our subconscious mind, we just let it flow down to the subconscious mind and it becomes embedded there. It becomes habit and eventually paradigms, but more on paradigms in a moment. So know that any idea, thought, image, message from external sources, from the news, from the TV, from well-meaning parents and colleagues and teachers, the media, if we do not stop to choose, accept, or reject, it flows right on down into our subconscious mind. We really want to start thinking about this. I love another idea now with computer virus software and all this and that. When I get an email from an external company, I'll get a note and it'll say, "Stop. This email originated from outside your company." Wouldn't that be great if that's what we did with our mind? Whenever something comes to mind, we say, "Stop. Let me consider this thought. Is this something I want to accept, or do I want to simply reject it?" We're going to work a lot on this. So I really love this idea because it has helped me to think a lot more freely and a lot more deeply. So make sure you think about this often. Let's do a little more on this concept. Now, when we think about mastering our mindsets, let's look again, and I'll blow this up here. Here's the stimuli. So again, the conscious mind is our thinking mind. It's our intellectual mind. It's where our book learning occurs. And you can see the little antennae here in the picture. So the little antennae are always out, and that's where our senses are so handy, of course. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. Our things come through, the ideas come through our senses. Let's think about this. What kinds of external stimuli are you letting in to your precious mind? Whether through, again, the news, your colleagues, friends, your family, religion, politics, and consider, are you allowing these external messages to flow right into your subconscious mind that you would rather reject? And you can see that, again, in the subconscious mind, This is where habits are formed, and this is where our paradigms are formed. And what's a paradigm? Really, a paradigm is simply, it's a habit of thought that causes us to behave in a certain way. And where do you see the behavior? Well, that's this bottom part, the little small circle in our stick person. That's our body. That's where we see the actions, right? And more on this in later modules, but let's think about this. Do you choose to accept anything coming into your mind? Or are you ready to stop and choose? So what I'd like you to do in these puffy clouds here, I want you to list some external messages that bombard you daily and write whether in the future you're going to accept these or reject these. So keep this handy throughout the day. When something pops into your mind, whether it's seeing it, hearing it, smelling it, tasting it, touching it, and write down the idea in one of these boxes, right? So when I hear the news and they're telling me that the economy is so bad, I say, stop, nope, I'm not going to accept that. I don't want to accept that. I'm going to choose that the economy is what I make it and look for the good. So it's not just keeping a positive attitude, because that's forceful. But what we can do with ease and flow is to choose what we allow to flow through to our subconscious mind. So spend a lot of time on this, okay? And now I want to talk about a really, probably my favorite concept in talking about self-image. So this is a bonus. We're gonna master your self-image here in this module as well. So look here at the little kitty cat looking in the mirror. What does the little kitty cat see? That's his self-image. So the little kitty cat, when he sees himself as big and powerful and the king, it certainly makes a difference. So how do you see yourself? So let's talk about self-image. You know, a little known fact about self-image is that, you know, anybody can bowl their way into changing a behavior for a little while, but soon our old habits and results may return. Does that sound familiar? Think about when you're trying to do something new and folks say 21 days to a new habit, that if on that 22nd day, you're still looking at yourself as not having the thing that you were after or having that behavior, poof. So this is why we need to focus on the self-image so critically. So the self-image then can be and is the primary cause of your success or failure. And whether that's trying to release weight, whether that's a new behavior, quitting smoking, reaching those goals, listen in. So your self-image has been programmed into your subconscious mind from little on up. Remember this stick person? Where when you're little, things just flow right on through. You don't know, you don't have the capability or the ability to stop and choose thoughts till you get a little older. So when trying for a new result, your old image often doesn't line up with what you're trying to do. And this can cause unrest and feelings of sabotage and feelings of ill. You're just not sure what's going on. You're trying for this new thing. When you have this old self-image still in your mind, there's going to be discontent. And again, the self-image predicts the results. But here's the good news. You can reprogram your self-image to one that will produce the results you want. And you don't have to dig up so much of your past and go way back and do all that therapy, unless, of course, there's something medically that you need. Please do go get the therapy. But when we're working on self-image, here's what we do. We want to set our self-image high, just like the kitty cat in the picture. We want to focus on the you that you want to be, the results that you are seeking. And when you do this and you're making those new actions, it's in parallel, it's in sync with the new image you're seeking. You know, that's one of the reasons that we ask you to write your goal in the present tense and read it often throughout the day. Because, again, we're putting it into our thought, and by repetition, we're impressing it into our subconscious mind, where we'll begin to feel and have the attitude of that result we're seeking. And then finally, our actions will show on the outside and the results you're getting. So I want to talk a little bit about where this idea comes from. I love the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. So cybernetics is in itself a basic system understood in the mechanical world. So think of the thermostat in your home or the GPS in your automobile. You decide the set point, whether that's the temperature in the room or the destination you're seeking. You put those set points in, and the cybernetic mechanism corrects. As you get off course, the cybernetic mechanism corrects to get you back on course until your desired result is acquired, whether that means a 70-degree room temperature or getting you to the beach. All you have to do is program in the set point. And again, when you get off track, the mechanism brings you back on course. Now, Dr. Maltz theorized that everyone has an automatic success mechanism, the psycho-cybernetic system, a natural ability to achieve goals. So really, a lack of self-confidence, an image, self-image that's needing some assist is really caused by paying too much attention to your past results or even the current result that isn't quite what you want. So to activate this automatic success mechanism, what we do is vividly visualize our successful future. We visualize the perfect image of the goal that we're seeking. And more on psycho-cybernetics. It's often said that rockets fail themselves or fail their way to the moon because there's the correction. They go and they're getting off course, whoop, back on, they go, getting on course, whoop, back on course. So if you have, or if we have a goal, for example, of releasing weight, that's an easy one to talk about. So if your goal is to release weight, but in your mind, you're still seeing yourself as this heavy person, not healthy, can't do the activities you want to do, if that's the self-image you have, as you're going along on your goal, and maybe you're watching the whites, you know, the sugars and the white potatoes, and you're counting your calories and going all along, and you're starting to, you know, lose some weight and it's looking good. If you still have the fat image in your mind, guess what the psycho-cybernetic mechanism does? It puts you back on course to whatever vision is in your brain, right? So that's why we need to visualize, in that case, ourselves as our healthy weight, as looking good and feeling fine. And, you know, remember back in the day, you'd hang the bathing suit on the closet door so that you could see yourself in your new form. And that will help you stay on track as you get off course. Maybe you're eating the cakes and drinking a little too much wine. If you visualize yourself as that healthy, slim person, you'll get back on track, because a healthy, slim, disease-free person won't indulge too often in the sweets and the cakes and the wine. A little bit, sure. But again, the vision of what you want will put you on track. So set the image of your preferred want, your goal in your mind. Set it on paper, read it often so that it's impressed on the subconscious, where you're creating these new habits and thoughts. Internalize it, right? And that's by repetition and feelings. Now, keep that desired thought top of your mind. Don't worry about the current result. Don't worry that you're only halfway to your goal. No. Think of the result as it is upon completion. That way, your rocket too will fail itself to your goal with course correction. Your course then again will correct to the vision you had. And it sounds like I'm repeating myself, and I am, because repetition is key. I want you to get this. Go out and get a copy of Psycho-Cybernetics. Matter of fact, I may have part of it in an ebook somewhere. Send me a text. But rewrite your goal then on this little paper in your workbook, right? Write that at the top where the target is, and then see yourself. Remind yourself to keep it in focus. I just love this concept. So let's revisit this stick person. And I just want to go over another concept here. So as we saw, the figure on the left is your mind, right? And body connection as we are now. So we have the conscious mind, which is our thinking mind or intellectual mind, where the book learning occurs. And our subconscious mind, again, is where there's no capacity to choose. Subconscious mind believes whatever you put there. This stirs up feelings, and then the body is where we see the action and the results. But look at on the right-hand side here. This is the mind-body connection when we were just a baby, just a little child. See how as a child, we had no capacity to choose or originate our thoughts. Ideas, thoughts, and images from whether it was well-meaning parents, teachers, just flowed right through to our subconscious. And then this became our programming. We call this programming paradigms. Think of some of these paradigms that you might have grown up with. Money doesn't grow on trees. Children should be seen and not heard. Don't talk to strangers. Be satisfied with what you have, and so on. Now, some of this learning was for our own safety and good, like don't touch the stove. Beautiful. Let's keep those going. But now, as we have grown and, our little minds started to close so that our mind-body connection looks like the left image, we still maintain or retain those paradigms from when we were a little child or even as adults. Those things we've let into our mind, our subconscious mind, and build up as our paradigms and our programming. So what do we do? What do we do to get rid of these paradigms? I'd like you to start with the workbook, and we'll go down through here. Write down some of the paradigms and the programming that you remember and how it's affecting you now. So if one of your paradigms were children should be seen and not heard, how does that affect you today? For me, early on, sales is something that's so important, but if you're afraid to call on people because you think you should be just seen and not heard, you're going to have a big obstacle there. What about money doesn't grow on trees? If that's some programming that you've had, what does that result? Are your finances in a mess because you're not sure how to be in love with money? What other things, what other programming, what other paradigms have you brought along that's giving you a result that you don't want? Also, probably along the sales route is, I was taught from little to not bother people. Don't bother them with that. That's not very good for sales either, or for coaching. Not to bother people, to let them be. No, no. So what do we do about this? How do we change paradigm? Well, let's look at it a little more closely. You can't change a paradigm with willpower alone, right? You could bull your way through it for maybe a little while, but we end up going back to our own old programming. If the programming is still in there, it's going to take over whenever we try to make a little change or a big one. There are two ways that we can alter the paradigm. The first is emotional impact. That's when something hits you so hard in your life that you'll never be the same. Think about 911. Think about a death in the family, an illness, a heart attack that you've had, COVID-19 in 2020. Things will never be the same. That's an emotional impact. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. How can it be good? Well, marriage, a newborn, a lottery windfall, if you have the right programming. What's the second way? Because that's not always going to happen, is it? The second way to alter your paradigm and put in new programming is through the same way it was formed, repetition of ideas. Remember, we were talking about if the idea continues to be impressed upon your subconscious mind over time, it will become programmed in you. It will become a paradigm. So, exposing yourself to this good new idea that you choose over and over again will eventually replace the old beliefs that you have now. And in your workbook, this is the exercise that we've come up with for you. So I want you to think about old beliefs, old programming. Here's one. You have to have money to make money. If that's the case, we'd still all be poor because we started out with no money, right? So what's a new belief? Money is abundant and is earned relative to the value provided. So that just gives you an example of how we can take our old programming and realize what it is and then work to program it over. This takes some time, but as you read your goal card, write some of these new beliefs, and you can write them as affirmations in a positive way, in a current sense. Eventually, your old beliefs will start leaving, and we'll have the new beliefs. For example, for the person who was taught to be seen and not heard, and they really want to be a good salesperson, the new belief could be, people are waiting for me to reach out. And this is something, again, we read our goal cards daily, lots of times daily, and we need to impress on our subconscious mind these new habits of thought. So consider your old beliefs that are holding you back and consciously choose a new belief that's aligned with the result that you want to get and the habit that you want to have. And then impress that idea by focusing on it, visualizing it, and repeating it with feeling, with emotion on your subconscious mind. And don't forget that self-image. Keep that new self-image top of mind, just like the kitty cat in the mirror. I just love that. Okay, so I've given you a lot in Module 3, and I really want you to watch this over and over again so that you can really learn and begin to impress this upon your mind. Because again, I've given you the book learning here for your conscious mind, right? So I want you to practice choosing your thoughts so that whatever goes into your subconscious mind is what you have chosen and what your self-image wants from you. So continue to reach out to me, continue to go to the Facebook group and post your ideas and get some support there. And remember, Find Your Encore is about learning to create that life filled with purpose so that you can use your talents and your strengths, and so you can, at the same time, ensure time freedom and financial confidence. And this may be a very important module if you're working on the financial piece of it. Remember, we did way back in the introduction, we looked at our budget. So now this is a little different take on financial. I want you to create your affirmation. Money, I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me on a continuous basis, in increasing quantities, in a good way. Come up with something like that and repeat it, and that will help your financial confidence. So in this module, we began to learn how to live our Encore more fully by mastering our mindset, conquering doubt and worry, and altering our paradigms. Now in Module 4, we're going to supercharge things, right? We're going to start to love and celebrate this Encore. We're going to help you multiply the results that you're getting, and then we're going to take a really good look at optimizing your environment so that we can put this all on autopilot, so you can do it all with ease and flow. Won't that be great? I look so forward to you getting a hold of these ideas and really internalizing them and putting them to use for you. So again, reach out. And for now, I'm so happy and grateful that you're along for this ride. Thanks so much. This is Jane Miller, and I so appreciate you being here to find your Encore. Thank you.